What is going on? Welcome back to Hobby of Hours with D. I'm D. Very special guest in the green room waiting. Before I bring him to the stage, quick little bio. I'm kind of copying the Sean Ryan intro where he does a really classy bio introduction of his guest. He's the son of a concert pianist and he grew up listening to classical music, began playing the guitar at age 8, moving from classical into rock, and then that eventually led to him getting a degree in music theory, and that led him on to being a session player on artist records, touring with names you'd know, but he's humble enough not to mention them. He also has the distinction of being the very first ukulele shredder. Many records, many accolades, many wristwatches. He even made and sold some of his own watch creations. Please welcome to the program, Tony Gamble from the Talking Timepieces with Tony YouTube show. Bringing him to the stage. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thanks for the intro, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. If you're not familiar with Tony's work, his channel is linked in the description below. I have a lot of musician buddies, and I spent 15 years in LA, and there's a rhythm to Tony's language and his presentation that not only reminds me of my friends, but also that coolness that musicians just have. I don't know where they get it. It's in their blood. And while I am a guitar owner, I certainly can't play it. So I love hanging with musicians. I love the vibe of your channel. If you want a channel that's informed, honest about watches, but also has a type of feeling that I like to give off where I'm kind of like talking to someone through the camera, that's just relaxing and enjoyable. And it's one of the reasons I had to reach out to you, brother. We share a lot of things in common in the watch world, and I wanted to bring you on stage and just introduce you to the audience and celebrate you, my man. That's what it's a toast and not a roast. It's a toast to Tony. Yeah.
Awesome. So I appreciate that. Much better concept than the roast, you know.
Although I do miss the Dino roast from the 70s, but the roasts today are madness, bro.
Brutal, man. Brutal. There's
so I've got you.
It's a lot of aggression in today's roasts, isn't there?
I wouldn't. It's borderline disgusting. I can't watch it. So you are featured on screen, sir. Wristwatch. Check. What are you wearing?
I am wearing my Zenith.
Is that the new one you picked up? Open heart.
Say again.
Is that the new one you got?
No. I bought this last September when I was going to a Zenith Bindi event, and this is the Chronomaster Open Heart El Primero movement, the world famous El Primero movement. And I had the reason why I bought this particular one at the time is because I actually had the original one from 2002.
Okay.
And back in 2002 when they first came out with the Open Heart, I fell in love with it, and I wore it. I traveled with it when I was touring. And, somewhere along the lines, I got rid of it. I tend to give things away, and I probably just gave it away. And I said, one day I'm going to get another one. And every time I kept trying to buy it, I was buying other watches. And then finally I bought this, and it's probably
gorgeous.
It's not only gorgeous, but it's Zenith, man, are like, they're one of those brands. They were the first watch brand to ever be fully integrated, meaning everything was in-house. They were the first brand. Don't know if you know that. Yeah,
I didn't.
And also the most awarded watch movement goes to the Zenith 135 reference.
Yeah, I saw that they redid was it the ZFA, GFA?
What's that? GFJ. Yeah, George Fabre-Jacot, who is the founder.
Okay.
GFJ. Yeah.
That release they just come out with, and I did know that movement was the most. That's the most awarded. It's like rocking 40 G's for that reissue. Yeah.
49,000, but keep in mind it has over 230 actual awards given to it. It's the most awarded movement in watch history. At the same time, you've got a platinum case.
Yeah,
you've got that insane movement, and if you put Patek Philippe on the dial on that watch, you're looking at $200,000. So at the $49,000 price point, it's with Zenith. Zenith are just more people need to know about Zenith.
That's well put. And if we have time, we'll look at some Zenith. I have one not on me. It's in the bank right now. I've got their rainbow flyback.
Oh wow!
Which is it's not the rainbow coloration. It's the all black version.
Right.
flyback El Primero movement in there, and that was made for French fighter pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a Panerai chronograph that has the Zenith Z400 movement in it.
Yeah.
Mad love for Zenith, mad love. In honor of your appearance today, I'm wearing my GMT Sprite because we have some Rolex love between us and some Zenith love, and so I've got a funny Cartier update as well that I want to share with you because I went in to register my interest.
Yeah.
For that platinum jump hour. But not that I'm in the market for it. I'm totally not. Totally not. But love those watches. So confession. I watched one of your episodes the other day and you left something out. And I had to let you know.
Okay.
Hercules, Hercules, Hercules! You left the clapping out, bro. You cannot do the Hercules voice without, oh, you got to do the clap, but do it away from the microphone. I was like, I'm watching it like, why isn't he clapping? He needs to do the clap.
I was going to, but I didn't want it to pick up on the microphone too loud, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, well, you are a professional, so I figured I had to tease you a little bit for leaving the clapping out, brother.
I'm glad you caught that, though. I don't know if a lot of people understood what that was, but...
Oh, no, I was there. I almost fell off my couch, and then I was on the floor. I'm like, why isn't he clapping? Why isn't he clapping?
It's funny, too, because, you know, it's just... I said that, I mean, I don't know the brand that well, but
me neither.
My girlfriend watched the episode, and she's like, oh, my God, that watch is gorgeous. And I was like... Really? I was like, I mean, they have a great aesthetic, but I was like, well, I don't know. I don't think I could wear a watch that has Hercules written on the dial. So one of my viewers also commented and said, how about a watch that said Tarzan? I said, that's more along the lines of, you know, what I would do.
Well, to be fair, 6 Gs for a watch that may be well made, may have a good movement. I also don't know, but
yeah,
the logo is a little bit...
It's large,
pronounced. Like if they did the Hercules logo, like either Bulgari or Custos did, where they use a V for the U, that kind of Roman lettering in a little more reduced font. Yeah, I'd be kind of okay with that. But no, to your point, not for 6 Gs. You're into other realms there.
Yeah, you're getting into Rolex Oyster Perpetual, you know, territory there. You know,
well, not for much longer if these tariffs keep hiking our prices up. My goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness. So we've spoken a little bit about the music journey you've been on. Kind of want to share a little bit of your watch journey. Okay. I'm embarrassed to say that. Well, I'm going to tell you an embarrassing thing I did. I ordered something off eBay. It didn't get here in time for our interview, but I'm going to wait until we get to it. Talking about the beginning of your watch journey, I like to have like whenever I do these types of things, I want to do that cinematic voice. Watch journey with Tony Gamble. Yeah. I did my best. But talking about your watch journey, when did watches first appear on your radar? Were you a kid? Were you an adult? When did that happen for you?
Well, it was 1984, I'll tell you what. We started back with pocket watches, you know, sundials at first, you know. Well, you know, I got my first watch from what I remember when I was about 12, and it was an Omega, a vintage Omega, that my dad had given to me. But to be fair, I thought it was cool, but I didn't know how to look after nice things, you know, and it belonged to his dad, so it was my grandfather's watch,
wow,
right?
okay.
And I didn't know how to look after nice things, so he took it away from me. And you know, and long since, after he passed away in 2004, I got it back, you know, and I ended up, my little sister's a huge Omega fan, and I ended up giving her that watch. I don't know if it was a birthday or whatever, and I just sent it to her without her knowing about it, and she loved it. But I think overall, when it came down to watches, I think it was probably when I really started seriously getting into watches was probably about the late 80s, 1980s, very early 90s. I was about 21. And, you know, it just kind of started, you know, back when I was 20, you know, 21 years old, I was in music school and I was living in my car, you know, so I was homeless and I couldn't afford anything. But if I did get any money, I'd go to the mall and I'd buy like a Fossil or a Guess watch, you know,
Yeah.
and just back then they looked cool. And, you know, even though when you take brands like Rolex or Cartier, you know, I loved Rolex and I always wanted one because I was a huge tennis fan, and I still am a
Okay.
huge tennis fan and a tennis player, because I was initially going to be a professional tennis player, which
Oh, right on.
so but so Rolex was always, you know, Rolex and Cartier were my two main sort of radar watches. So those were the two watches you could have once you've made it. You know, you've made it when you have a Cartier or a Rolex. And so,
Oh, wow.
but
Okay.
it wasn't an, you know, I couldn't, obviously when I was 20 years old, couldn't afford a Rolex. So it was I'd buy like watches that looked cool, Guess watches. And like I say, and it just progressed from there, you know?
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is about the Omega that you gifted to your sister? Was that like a Seamaster or a Constellation or a Genève?
On that one, I'm not sure. It was weird because I took it to Beverly Hills. There was a vintage Omega watch store in Beverly Hills, and he couldn't tell me what it was because back, you know, Omega makes so many watches, but back in the night, it was a 1950s. It was 1950s anyway.
Oh,
Don't remember
okay.
the specific year, like maybe a 58. And when they took it in, I took it to get serviced, and he couldn't be specific other than the fact that very few of them were actually made in Great Britain. And so this particular watch was made in Britain. My dad was British.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of like one of those ones that it was, you know, that didn't really have the name, so to speak. But I would, if I were to guess, venturing a guess on that would be a Seamaster, but not 100% certain on it.
You may have very well dropped it off to one of my channel partners, Second Time Around Watch Company. They're over on Beverwill, I think. Just
Beverly?
South, Beverly or Beverwill, I can't remember which over there. But yeah, so that's interesting. But the nice thing about that watch is because of its history, anytime you want, you can just take it back from your sister and be like, look, this is how this watch behaves in our family. Dad gave it to me and took it back. I gave it to you and I'm taking it back. So you can repo that watch back into your collection anytime you want, brother.
Yeah, I couldn't I? I say, all right, so if you're watching, to my little sister, her handle on YouTube's Metagirl, if you're watching, send me my Omega back. I want it back, and I'll give it to you when you become more responsible to look after it and take care of it.
Oh, that's
no,
so
that watch is hers, and I was elated to give it to her. And is anything that can make her happy makes me happy, because I love
Amen,
her.
brother. Amen. Yeah, I'm just having some fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do have some commenters in the link. I'm not able to see the comments right now. Sorry, team commenting. I'm going to work on that as we go about. The next question up for you, sir, is, and this is the part I have a confession to make, your journey making the watches.
Yeah.
So you made some watches, and I'll wait to the appropriate point in the when you get to the point to say my thing. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about that, because that is, you were doing that way before the Alibaba days, way before micro brand was even a term. To be honest, if you want to maybe share some of that, that'd be lovely. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I became obsessed with watches, as you know, like in my early 20s, and you know, you got my first Rolex when I was 23 or 24, something like that. And you know, I have been in the music industry my whole life, so I know how it works, how everything works in the industry. And I thought, you know, and I just came back off touring. I was gone for about 4 or 5 months, and I really wanted to make watches. And I thought, you know, maybe this could secure my future. It's something I love, I'm passionate about. And you know that what they say about, if you do something you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life, right?
That's the word around the campfire.
Yeah, and so music was becoming more like a job for me than the passion aspect of it. So it was really difficult. I had to make, you know, obviously contact the right people. Of course, if I would have known what I know now, I probably wouldn't have done it, because the amount of freaking cost involved is crazy. But back then, so yeah, I had to go to several different companies, which took a lot of time to do, you know what I mean? Because we're talking 2001, and yeah, I had to get cases not only made, you don't just go, I'll take that case and that case and that crystal and that, you know, you have to have, they have to be molded. You can't just buy cases, and you have to make a certain quantity like you do. And then crystals. Then of course I wanted Swiss automatic movements. Back then you could get ETA movements. So I also had contacts downtown LA where I would get my movements from. And then finally, you know, once I get the parts, I probably had about 25, maybe 20 different watch designs. It wasn't just one or two, man. I went full in, and I got the watches and I assembled them, you know, I regulated them. I wouldn't call myself a watchmaker because I didn't take the movements apart and put them back together, you know what I mean? But then again, a lot of the big companies don't do that either, you know what I mean? So
that's fair.
But I would design the dials on my computer, most likely when I was drunk, you know, just to try to do something different. And so I just did a bunch of different dials and different styles, and I really went from there. It took a lot of work and a lot of money. But one of the things was Watch Time magazine, which is a big publication.
Yeah, yes,
especially
indeed.
back in 2001, they had the Watch Time Buyer's Guide. I'd go into Barnes and Noble and I'd pick up all my watch magazines and I'd read them. And I think I shot them an email and I just said, hey, I'm a watchmaker, watch designer, and would love to see what you think. So I sent them a watch, a diamond watch, actually, one of my own designs, and the editor loved it and sent me a personal letter saying that I was a very talented watchmaker, etc. And that they wanted to feature 3 or 4 of my watches in the 2005 Buyer's Guide. So, and the Buyer's Guide is the huge publication, you know. I mean, it's like this is it, and they do it all categorized by price points.
Yep.
So they featured 3 or 4 of my watches in the 2005 Watch Time Buyer's Guide. It didn't cost me anything because it's an invite only. Wow. And then from there, I started getting my watches in stores. But then a lot of people don't understand that well, now that your stuff is in stores, why did you go out of business? And it's because I think it was, I don't know if it was Bloomingdale's. They wanted to do, you know, and keep in mind, they've got, you know, stores throughout the United States or wherever. And they wanted to place an order that was just too big that I could not fulfill. I didn't have anyone working. I was a single operation, man. And I realized that I was in over my head and I couldn't afford to hire anyone yet because I was only recouping money that I'd spent. I wasn't actually making money, you know?
Yeah, that's I did. There's a couple really excellent videos on Tony's channel going into even greater depth about that. And the embarrassing thing I have to confess is I found a copy of the 2005 guide. It didn't get here in time. I was going to flash it up on screen to surprise you. So
wow, I have a copy of it.
Yeah, it's en route. eBay assures me it's en route.
Awesome. That's cool.
For some reason, anyone watching, the comments are not showing up for me. I'm going to pop out of the studio for a second and come right back in. Keep talking about watches for literally 30 seconds, brother. I'm going to see if I can solve this StreamYard issue. Hang in with me.
Yeah. Well, hi, guys. Don't forget to watch Talking Timepieces with Tony.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Spend a couple minutes pitching your channel, bro.
Oh, my God. No. Okay. So, yeah, you guys, for those of you who do know me, I say this in all my videos. I really appreciate everyone who watches, who subscribes to my channel. That's what helps me stay motivated when, you know, when I do these videos. It's like I don't have any fluff or BS. You know, and I appreciate it. You know, I really do. So, you know, no ulterior motives. I don't sell anything on my channel, and you know, it's one of those things. So Talking Timepieces with Tony. And you can also follow me on Instagram. Oh man. Shameless self-promotion, man.
No, I love it. I always root for the home team.
Yeah, awesome.
Funny enough, I have the free version of StreamYard. I need to upgrade because apparently now that they must have had a change where I'm no longer able to see the comments or post comments from viewers. So shout out, Skylar Santana. Apologies, cannot get to it. Your comment, Lone Wolf McQuaid. What up, brother? Cannot. Oh, it's so embarrassing because they didn't send me a note that hey, you can't show chat comments anymore. That's really rather off-putting, StreamYard. In fact, I'm putting you on notice, StreamYard. I might be going over to Riverside or anyone else. I had no idea, so apologies, my brother.
That's what I use when I do it. But you can read the comments.
I can read them because I always run two computers so that
Okay.
I can tell what a viewer is seeing over here.
Okay.
And I'm going to read the comments periodically as we go, but I want to post them up. Shame, StreamYard, you let me down. They want like $35 a month, and I only do it like once a month, if that. So
Yeah.
So Skylar says late 80s, you started collecting when he was born. He's a COVID spawn collector going 5 years strong. Shout out to anyone who spent their COVID time buying watches.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but that's great though.
Yeah.
Anytime's a good time to get into watches.
Yeah, no doubt. He also says he's given his brother a lot of watches so he can borrow them back if he ever misses them. I totally do the same thing. And I've seen on your channel that you and your sister do have a loving relationship with watches, where she's given you, I think, a couple moon swatches over the years, or gifting or something. I can't get my brother interested in the watches. I've been giving him watches, and he's still not into watches. So I respect.
Yeah. She gave me a Snoopy swatch because I love Swatch watches. You know, a lot of people don't understand that, you know, they're, whether the moon swatch or the Blanc Pawn or whatever it is that swatch are doing, you know, and people are, I don't know, they all jump on the same bandwagon and like, I'm so over it. But a lot of people don't realize that the Swatch actually saved the Swiss watch industry.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
People don't know that. And when people are saying, oh, I'm getting sick of this and all that, you know, what they're doing is they're introducing watches to people that would otherwise not be interested in watches.
Absolutely brilliant.
And it's just really what it comes down to. It's like whether you're wearing a Swatch watch or a Patek Philippe, it's the fact that you're wearing a swatch or you're wearing a watch, you know? And you know, that's the whole thing. It's not about, look at me, I've got a Rolex or a Zenith or a Patek or any of that. It's not about that. It's the fact that you're wearing a watch, you know? And sometimes people say to me, they're like, well, all I have is this Seiko. And it's like, dude, it's all good. You
counts. It counts.
It's all love, man. And that's another thing that's off-putting about the watch industry too, is when you get comments, I'm sure you get them too, where people are so snobby about it and they're so like, Rolex sucks, Omega's the only brand. You know, it's like, no, man, we're all in this together. It's like, what's with the separation, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's why you and I park our cars in the same garage.
Yeah.
And if for no other reason, then Swatch literally stands for second watch.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they've made some, I love the moon swatch. I have several metal, I was going to say real, but metal Speedmasters. Love them. I love the moon swatch. I love the marketing. I love the idea. It doesn't cheapen the value of my automatic ones. They only did one thing wrong, and I will hold them to task for it. With the original release, they initially promised that these are not limited.
Online.
We're going to sell them online. Don't worry about it. And then they backtrailed on it, and that is not okay. I bleed Omega red, but that is not okay, guys. I had, you know what the funniest thing is, when they announced it, I called my buddy up in San Francisco. I was like, hey bro, you know what, just head on down there if you're around, and could you just buy one of everyone for me? I'll send you the money. Like, how naive and stupid was that? Because the line was like 800 people deep. They've only got 5 watches, so pretty idiotic on my part.
Well, I got my first the moon swatch when it was still very difficult. I had you know, and people that know me that know me fairly well know I have a pretty big swatch collection. Okay. And so when I wanted the moon swatch, another YouTuber from Australia, her name is Jessica Liley, and she doesn't do videos that much anymore, but she I don't know, I fell in love with her channel. She was like, she didn't know much about watches, but she was trying and she was learning, and I love that when someone goes online and basically says, hey you guys, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'm learning as I go and I love watches, and that's all that mattered to me. And we got hooked up somehow or whatever, and I think I commented on one of her videos. Yeah. And she came out to LA because she through work, whatever, and she picked me up a moon swatch in Australia.
Sweet.
Yeah, so when I got my first moon swatch, that came from Australia, and you know, I'm grateful for her for picking that up for me.
Yeah, that's like, my family, quite hilariously, has zero listening to their son or brother talking about watches. So that's why I've been seeking out friendships, yours, a couple other YouTubers that I chit chat with. I've got one really great watch buddy. Shout out to G Money. He's in LA because I lived in LA for 15 years. A lot of my friends are out there, but he's got 2 little ones and a lovely wife. And even when I come see them, we can barely get some watch bro time in. But I love talking watches with people and making friends. Couple commenters, Knock to a watch. What up, brother? JP is in the house. Dr. Bob's Nightmare, what up? In case you guys are just seeing this, StreamYard no longer allows a free stream to post comments, so I can't put you up on the wall. But I am going to have you over here in the stream, and I will capture those. But to your point, I have the Blancpain all black one. It's the Ocean of Storms.
The Ocean of Storms.
The Ocean of Storms. And I just got the white Snoopy moon swatch. My buddy picked it up. But good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, the problem with the System 51 movement, though, let me tell you about that.
Sure, lay it down.
It's you're looking at, okay, when the System 51 first came out, I don't want to say it was, I don't know, I mean, maybe 2013. And I was like, as soon as it came out and it was announced, I was like, I have to have one. Back then, they had a swatch store in the Glendale Galleria, which was next to Bindi, which is no longer there. But, and I remember calling the swatch store the night before it came out, and I'm like, please hold me one, please hold it. And they're like, yeah, no worries, you know, and I got one. And I only wore it maybe a handful of times because I don't wear a swatch every day. And it literally just stopped working. And it was like, okay. And it was already out of warranty at that point. So when I got the Blancpain with the System 51, even though I still wanted the watch, and I still have it, of course, is that movement for no reason just stopped working. And I'm going, okay.
In the Blancpain.
Yeah, $350, $400. But keep in mind, I would imagine that they've, you know, fixed whatever issues that may have had, or maybe it was an anomaly that it happened to mine. But, you know, I was a little concerned, like going, okay, if I'm going to spend $350 on this, I hope the watch actually lasts a little bit of time. The good thing about the Swatch Quartz is you can change the battery, but once the automatic goes, that's it, you know? It's
gone and gone. Yeah, my buddy Rose City, what up, Ro? He was on a trip to Singapore, and he's like, hey, D, they got a Blancpain Ocean Storms here. I'm like, oh, dude, get it for me, bro, get it. Because I'm in Western PA. I live nowhere near the place. So it's, that's my only critique of them. I want to show something on screen. It's not officially sponsored, but one of my trusted suppliers, countycom.com, they make a set of spring bars, the good ones, with 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 millimeters. And they're good because they're 1.8 millimeters thick. Check it out, link in the description. But my good buddy Tony is going to get one sent to him so he can enjoy it on his watches, because his poor Zenith is out of sorts. He almost lost it, almost come off a spring bar. So we're gonna help you out with that, brother. We can't have you doing that.
Yeah, and it's no fault through Zenith by any stretch. I am constantly taking the spring bars off this and putting different straps on it. And you know, it's just one of those things. It just happened to come off. And I'm just glad I was cognizant of the fact that it was the strap disconnected from the case. But no, because this is my favorite watch.
Yeah, you wear that one. I've seen that in a great many videos. You've got a baller collection, brother.
Thanks.
So we talked about your journey. Gosh, I wish that buyer's guide would have got here in time. That'd have been, I would have, because I wouldn't have told you. I'd have just popped it up like, bang, like, wow, this guy does his research. This guy's all right.
Yeah, man, thank you.
On our next one, dude, because I do want to see them. And I was watching your episode where you were going through that Stingray, the red Stingray covered
book.
Is it a sales book, or it's kind of like a memory book now, but it would have been a sales tool, I imagine, back in the day.
Yeah. It had some advertisements that I'd created for, you know, when I was gonna, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. That's definitely rad.
Yeah, that was custom made. That book was custom made. It was.
Did you get that done locally? Like in LA?
It was in LA somewhere. You know, keep in mind we're going back 25 years, so it was.
Got it.
Got the Stingray. You know, the skin, and then got like the scrapbook, and then had them fit it and make the book, and then I put my watch advertisements, and then basically, it was basically when I would go to watch dealers, and show them what I had, as well as the letter from Watch Time magazine that from the editor who really liked my watches. So
that's pretty rad,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, I'm friends with the no, I shouldn't say friends. I said I'm acquaintance with the current editor at Watch Time, because I met him at a couple meetups. Super cool dude. Very much respect for that magazine, bro.
Yeah,
All right, so
absolutely. Real quick too, just to let people know that even though I'm not selling watches anymore, that the or making watches, I did make a prototype just the other day, but the company was called Anthony Burton Watch Company, and people always ask me, why is it Anthony Burton when your name's Tony Gamble?
Yep.
And I'm like, well, because my birth name, even though it's Tony Gamble, a long story, it was initially Anthony and my middle name was Burton, so I just decided to do Anthony Burton, kind of a little bit, you know, so
I was dying to ask, so I'm glad you got. I love it when someone answers a question before I ask, because I don't look as stupid.
No, I mean, you know, it's a valid question, you know, but you know, essentially my real name's Tony Gamble. I'm like, who wants a watch that says Tony Gamble on it? You know what I mean? So I thought Anthony Burton, you know, it's like Anthony Burton Watch Company.
How did you escape a career playing poker? Because, dude, that would be so rad. Your style, your tats, rolling in heavy to Vegas. I'm not justifying gambling. What I'm saying is, with that name,
when I lived in Las Vegas. I lived in Vegas for 7 months, man. And when back then, 97, I used to still get carded when I go into bars and whatever, and they'd look at my ID and go, really? You know, and I'd be like, but I am the shittiest gambler, man. I cannot, no, I have no luck.
Me too. I have zero luck. Although I play poker well in house games, but that's kind of like a McLovin. You were McLovin before McLovin come out. Oh yeah, I'm Tony Gamble. I like a table, a bottle, and a woman.
Yeah.
All right, so you already have a girl. This is back in the day.
Yeah, no, well, you know, my girl, as far as I'm concerned, I have the most beautiful woman in Los Angeles, in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Outstanding. You know what? That's love right there. Like when you're in a loving relationship and everything else falls away, that's a beautiful thing, brother. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So amazing. your watch buying and selling regrets. I can't remember if I've done several videos about regrets. Yeah. Like chiefly, I have fewer buying regrets than selling regrets. Yeah. How about yourself? Any regrets on the buying selling spectrum, sir?
Well, yeah, probably, but you know, when it comes down to it, you know, it's part of the journey, right? And essentially, you can't live life with regrets. You have to sort of move on, get over it, and say, hey, you know what, man, that's part of the journey, and I've learned from it. But you know, even being a seasoned, experienced watch guy, I have bought watches that I wish I hadn't, like the Breitling Top Time was one that I bought, and I go, why the hell did I buy this? And I've done that with several watches. I mean, and you're in the moment. You're the kid in the candy store, man. You're like, I want that candy, and then you get it home and you eat it and you go, this candy ain't that good. You
this
get
candy
a sample,
sucks.
Right? So, but the one regret that I have as far as selling goes, my Vacheron Constantin Patrimony. I wish I hadn't have sold that.
Was that a time only 3-hander?
It had a date at the 12. It was there. Okay, so the Patrimony, there's the Historique and the Patrimony, which are very similar, two different lines though. So the actual Patrimony was a 40 millimeter rose gold with a the dial was ivory, and date at 6 o'clock, right? And just a beautiful. Oh my God, it was my ultimate Grail watch, and it still is. But it's weird. I was going through this thing where I was like, oh my God, it needs to be serviced because it sat in a box forever, you know?
Yeah. And it's getting gunked up.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, you know, I wanted to get a newer reference. I wanted to get the Historique at 38 millimeter, and 40 millimeter for that watch particularly was just a little bit too in your face on the wrist. 40 millimeter.
That's fair.
And 40 millimeters fine. This is a 38, but you know, I can wear 40, but 40 in the Vacheron just seemed a little bit sort of ostentatious. Too much.
Like a lug to lug challenge? Too much? Was it broad lug? Was it a wide, or rather a tall lug to lug?
Not really. It was just that I felt like I wanted to cover it up so no one could see it when I was wearing it, you know?
Got it. Yeah.
And I want to go with the dress watch a little bit smaller, 38 millimeter, 39 maximum. But once it was not running, and you know, I would have to take it to Beverly Hills because I would never get it serviced from anyone other than Vacheron, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
And I wanted to get another Submariner, and you know, I just went, all right, you know, man, I'm just gonna get rid of it, and I'm gonna buy a Historique, or I'm gonna buy another Patrimony at 38 or 39 millimeters, and it'll be no problem. Well, the problem is that I started buying other watches, and next thing you know, I'm like, oh, well, now I can't afford to get the freaking Patrimony again, you know. But I will.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. For me, I adore Vacheron. If I'm not an AP guy. I don't have AP money, but if I had money, it would not be for AP. Right. It would be with Vacheron. What I like to call the Deuces watches, 222. Yeah. I remember when the vintage ones you could get for under 20. Now they're absurdist. And now that they've released them both, they're still highly allocated. If not, look, I'm not looking to buy a 40 grand watch. It's just not my cuppa. But if I had the money to purchase a integrated, it would absolutely be the Deuces watch. I admire it. I'm not an Aquanaut guy. It's just not. I mean, except for that, you did an episode recently where you had the one that I think it was the travel time version of the Aquanaut with the grenade dial.
The 5164G.
That I'd own that. That one is just, that one's, I mean, that's probably like 60 or 70 grand though, right? Or 100. That's something.
Well, it's I think it's about 55 or 60 if you can, but you can't get it from Patek. So you're looking on the pre-owned market for $140,000, $150,000, right?
I think my one buddy, I don't know as much about reference numbers, etc. for brands that I'm not a customer of. So I think my buddy locally here might actually have one. And if that's the case, Sandman, if you're watching, I'm gonna need to borrow that. So let me know. I give my friends code names to help them maintain their privacy if they want.
Right. Yeah,
I call him the Sandman. But okay, so any advice for other collectors before? Actually, let's see here. Lone Wolf and Quaid says vintage AP. I agree. Oh, Dr. Bob's Nightmare used to play poker in Vegas. He says he's a fish. He played poker in Vegas, but he's a fish, so he quit.
Oh, gotcha.
Skylar loves his Swatch collection. Yeah. Oh, Dr. Bob's Nightmare is rocking a 30-year-old Seiko Kinetic diver. I'm surprised it's still working. I love the idea of the Kinetic. I heard that they can quit on you. If anyone new has joined the stream, StreamYard does not let a free account post comments. So that's why there's no comments up on screen. Have no fear. D is here. I will have words with them afterwards. Any advice for collectors, new or old? Any pearls of wisdom from you, sir, for collectors, new or old, whatever's on your mind, sir?
I just say if you're gonna go down that rabbit hole, it's a big rabbit hole, and if you're new at collecting, just buy what you like. Too many people jump on the hype wagon and they follow what everyone else is doing. You can't do that, man. I mean, you can. I mean, everyone does it, but buy what's going to make you happy, and start slow, because I get a lot of people that comment on my channel that say, my first watch is going to be a Rolex Day-Date. It's like, really? You've literally you didn't climb the mountain. You took a helicopter to the top and landed on it.
Frodo didn't walk to drop that ring off. He got on the Big Eagle straight ahead and dropped the ring into the mountain.
Yeah, just do it organically, man. Buy what you like. If you don't have the money, start small. I mean, even if it's with a Movado, and just work your way up, and enjoy the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And then once you start getting into luxury, then just, again, buy what you like, because eventually if you buy something straight up because of the hype, and then that's all it's going to be, and then you're going to get bored with it. We all get bored with watches, you know what I mean? So it's like, just buy what you like. And if you're a seasoned collector, then you already know these things, I would hope. And then just, again, some people have too many watches in their collection, like me. And really what it comes down to is consolidate your collection into, anywhere from 5 to 10 maximum watches that you really enjoy. And that's what I've done. I have several boxes with levels. Like, this is my daily rotation box. This is the occasional box. This is a really rare box. And this is a box that I don't wear anything in generally anymore. And so I rotate my watches that way, and I'm pretty cool with my collection now.
Yeah.
We're never 100% satisfied, but at the same time, I've gotten to the point now where, like, if you'd seen my channel last year, the year before that, I was buying a watch like once every week or so. I mean, Bindi Jeweler loved me, man. I walked in and go, all right, hey, let's spend all my money on watches. And
well, wait till I come visit you. I'll have to come meet with Juan.
Yeah, Juan's awesome, man. Bindi, everyone at Bindi's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because you said you advocate for a collection between 5 and 100, right? 5 and 100, is that the
5
number?
and 10 maybe. Not
10,000. That's 10,000's a lot, Tony.
No,
10,000
yeah,
watches.
right. 5 to 10 watches, but yeah, and I don't consider myself a collector. I consider myself an enthusiast. I just happen to have a certain number of watches, but I'm more of an enthusiast because I look at a collector like, for instance, someone who, can sit there and tell you every reference Submariner, but has them as well. Like, they collect all the Submariners. I would say I'm a Swatch collector because I have a lot of Swatch watches, but when it comes down to it, it's like, for instance, if someone's collecting like specific Rolex models or specific Omega models or whatever else, or Patek Philippe, those are collectors, man. I just enjoy what I enjoy regardless of what brand it is. You know what I mean? And
you've struck a nerve, a good idea. Shout out to Jason from Watch Rolling, the Watch Rolling YouTube channel and podcast. Really brilliant fellow. He has got some really poignant videos, one on that very subject where he explores the notion of curating versus collecting. Right. You just advocated for curating, and when I watched my buddy's video, it kind of shined an uncomfortable spotlight on me. I desire to be an enthusiast. I desire to be a curator. I am not. I went through, I lost my mom a couple years ago, and I was sick for a little bit. And I went through a gauntlet of retail therapy, and I went hard in the paint, and I need to clear out the collection and have that better mindset. I mean, I have it now, but I went through a stupid phase, which was and I think I went through a phase of, I need to have this in all 4 colors. No, you don't. Oh, no, I totally do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. No, it's my money. It's my collection, right? So that's wisdom is what I'm saying, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, if you can get, like, for instance, I like to have at least 2 of whatever brands I really love. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes I have more, like with Rolex, I've got a bunch of Rolex, but I have, like, I keep 2 Cartiers. I keep 2 Zenith. I keep a bunch of Rolex. I have 2 Nomos, 1, 2, 3, but I gave one to my girlfriend, so it was like, you know what I mean? And I keep, like, I want to pair everything, so I have at least 2 of each brand that I really love. And that's the sort of aspect of it, like saying, well, I don't think it's necessary to have 10 Rolex when I've got 10 Rolex and not half of them I don't wear. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, that's what you just, even in that little portion you just shared, you have some strategic, logical thinking to it that I need to copy and paste, if I'm being honest, because having some sort of structure to it absolutely makes that sense, because it can get out of control. Although with these tariffs going on, I tend to buy a lot out of Japan via eBay and or Chrono24, but right now we're in the zone where we're getting 10% put on top via DHL customs. I did a little video explaining about what that looks like for folks, whereas normally if you buy a $2,000 watch, I buy a lot of Omega out of there because you can get it very affordable because they run these coupons. But it's 10% on top of that for your tariff plus fees. So that $2,000 watch, you're going to get a bill from DHL for $250 on top of your local sales tax. So it's an interesting thing, and I'll be interested to see how it plays out, to be fair. Yeah. So your next acquisition, I know you had you shared your most recent acquisition. I don't know how recent that Nomos was, but do you have something that's on your radar, either short term, long term, other than the VC you mentioned earlier? Like, other than
so the Nomos I just bought last week. So you were the first to see it, when we did that pre-interview thing. I mean, there's never not going to be a watch that I want. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And at this point now, though, because I'm pretty content with my collection, but I'm also really scaling back. I just don't have, honestly, full disclosure, I just don't have the money like I used to have. So it's really now, if I'm going to go and spend 10,000, 15, 20,000 on another watch, like I used to just walk in and buy them like that. It was like, okay, yeah, cool. You know, I'm looking at one, obviously the Vacheron Constantin, another Patrimony or a Historique. Okay. You know, I love the Patek Philippe 3135, 3135. Oh my gosh. 5160. But okay. And then if I think about like something I'm really close to, I would probably say Zenith. Now, keep in mind the ceramic watches they just came out with, as beautiful as they are, they're a little too flashy for me. I stay under the radar, and that's how I kind of like to be.
I'm gonna show those in a minute, but yeah,
I would get the triple calendar with the lapis lazuli dial. That's freaking awesome. You know,
that is kind of crazy. That is wild and out. We're gonna have a quick. Let me add this to stage. I'm gonna go this way. All right, so every now and then I like to do these slides. I figured we would do, because if you're just joining, we have some overlap in brand love between us, Tony and I. And I wanted to share some Cartier news. If you've not seen these, this is the Jump Hour series. And we've got, going left to right, we've got a platinum, gold, rose gold, and then another platinum on the right, but it's asymmetrical on the right.
Yeah.
What did you think of these when you saw these released, sir?
After I threw up, no.
Oh, no,
I'm kidding. No, I'm so joking. I honestly, I have to say this. I appreciate what Cartier does, especially when they you know, bring back a revival of sorts, you know, from their CPCP collection or whatever it may be, like the Tour 2. You take that, that's fine. But I am just not a Jump Hour fan, man. I am so classic in the way that I like watches. No, I was being extreme there when I said that. I think they're beautiful, but I think at the same time, for the price point, there are so many other Cartiers I would purchase before I would get one of those.
If you and I were closer friends, as a gag, I would have totally muted you when you said you didn't like it, because I love this watch. I am so far away from ownership. Like, did you see the rewind from last year?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah. The Santos is like, I thought that was absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, but again, the whole rewind aspect of it and going in reverse just doesn't appeal to me, you know.
As a quick sidebar, I started engaging with Tony in his comment section as a thank you, because I should have told him today if he wanted to wear a Superman cape, he'd be welcome to, because he's my hero. I was looking at the Cartier dual time when it first landed, dying to get it put. I called my AD up, said, will you please put my name on the list? Please put my name on the list. I'm like, okay, Darren, calm down. We'll put your name on the list. It's not released until December. I'm like, okay, cool. So then around about that time, I started catching wind of your channel, and he's more or less the person who broke the news that it has a Sellita movement inside, which is a good movement. It is a solid movement. It is a workhorse movement. It has no Hublot business being in a $10,000 watch, though. Right. And he more or less saved me from that spend. Although if it ever hits the secondary market for $4 or $5 grand, yeah, I might pick it up then.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing, and I got some flack for saying that, you know.
Oh, dude, you were a genius. Just go to bed every night knowing, oh, someone out there thinks I'm a genius.
Thank you, man. I got some flack, though. It's like, what's wrong with Sellita movements? I'm like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But when Cartier have the capability of making their own movements, and then that, whatever year that was, a couple years ago, and they came out with all these beautiful watches with their own in-house movements on them, and then they kind of went, well, let's do this dual time. Shoot, we don't have a movement for it. Oh, let's get a Sellita. Fuck it and throw it in there. Pardon my language. I know you don't like
I'll have to blurb that out.
But that's kind of, it felt like it was just sort of just lazy of them to do that. That's all I was saying. There's nothing wrong with Sellita movements, but not for $10,000 in a Cartier, man.
No. Here's the thing. If you're going to do it, okay, make it the same price as the regular Santos that has also Sellita and a movement in it. I'm okay with that. No premium for the complication versus the movement, but I have an older GMT. It's their 150th anniversary Ronda tribute. It has a GMT. It is also an ETA movement. but they simply don't have a GMT movement in their lineup. But I say all that to say,
Yeah.
I went into Watches of Switzerland, and they have a Cartier boutique section in there, and I just happened to be talking to them because I would love to see this, get this on wrist, take a fun shot for Insta. I'm not in the market for it, but I got into a conversation loop with them where they said, well, you know, if you really, really want one of these, it makes sense to put down a deposit, because he has seen people get these high horology precious metal pieces by putting the deposit. I don't remember if he said it was 10, 15, or 20%. It was probably 10%, fully refundable.
Right.
But he has captured allocations into his store via that method. Now, when I went to my standard AD, local AD that has Cartier, it was a very different process. You have to fill out like a loan job application.
Wow.
And I spoke to them, and she was like, yeah, the last person who got this owns his own business, owns his own jet. He's got 20 Cartiers. I'm like, okay, so I shouldn't bother. And she's like, yeah, you shouldn't bother, D. She was being very kind to me, being very kind, giving me the honesty. But yeah, I would totally wear this. Maybe when we're not hanging out, not when we're hanging out, bro. Or you know what? Maybe I would. I'd let you borrow it for the day. Maybe we'll get you some jump hour love. So moving on to the next slide, sir. Talking about our Zenith love. It's a lot of blue, brother.
It is a lot of blue.
It's a lot. I got the blues. Let me tell you something. I got the blues.
Right. Yeah. I mean, me and my girlfriend were at Bindi. Jessica over at Zenith. She's a friend of mine. I mean, known her for a couple of years, I guess, you know. I mean, it's not like she was a friend of mine. You know, we met through.
Yeah. Through the business. And, the hobby.
And I was able to try all of these on, and you know, it's like my favorite one's the Defy. You know. I mean, I'm probably going to do a video on it, basically saying, "Step aside, AP. There's a new Zenith in town." But
dude, that's a rad title. You need to go with that.
I should, huh? I should write it down. But you know, trying them on, they're super comfortable. They're beautiful. I mean, a little flashy for me. I don't think I'd walk around with that much on my wrist, but
because those are ceramic, yes.
Those are ceramic.
All three are ceramic, even the one on the right.
Yeah, all three of them, man.
Wow. Here's the thing. It's when I grew up, my favorite color was blue, but now it's green. It's partly to do with my channel colors, if I'm being absolutely direct. If they release this in green, I would definitely be praising it. For me, just aesthetically, while I can appreciate their excellence of execution, it's just, here's the thing. It's just like a woman. I can appreciate if a woman's beautiful, but I'm not attracted to her. It doesn't mean she's not beautiful. These, I would not purchase these, but literally, if you change this to green, they go, oh, dang, when can I get one of those, right? So it's okay to have personal bias, personal taste differences, but still respecting the craft, right?
Do you know why they're blue?
I don't. I didn't do any study on them. What did they tell you?
Oh, well, okay. So Zenith is blue is their color, for one. Georges Favre-Jacot, the founder of Zenith. Okay, Zenith is the highest point in the sky, or star, or whatever, right?
Azimuth, yeah.
And people think it's black, but in actual fact, it's blue. The color of, apparently, you know what I mean? This is just what I heard. And so because of that being Zenith's colors and their sort of, I guess, signature colors, they've done watches in green, but I think that's why they did them all in blue. I think it's cool. I love the watches. I would, like I say, the triple calendar in lapis blue, lapis lazuli or lazuli dial is phenomenal. You know what I mean? The rose gold one is an amazing as well. I love those. But yeah, these three right here, you can buy the whole collection. You can buy the whole. They're 160 of each. That's 160th anniversary. Wow. And you know, you can get these three in a great box, and then on the fourth watch is going to be the GFJ watch, and I think you can get all four of them with the box, and it's $103,000. So when you think about just buying the GFJ for $50,000, you know, it's again put a different logo on the watch, Audemars, Patek, or whatever else, and look at how much you'd be spending. And
look at 250.
You know what I mean? And
that's legit.
You know, so it's but I'd love to have the collection. Got
much love for you, Zenith. We got to talk about I don't know. I was going to say the ugly watch of the room. I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about it. What did you think when you saw this drop? And at the end of the conversation on it, I want to talk about how no one is talking about how the fact that all of the leaks were 1-to-1 accurate this year. No one's
Yeah, that
really
was
discussing
crazy.
that. Yeah,
That
but
was
what aesthetically, what did
yeah.
you think, sir?
Well, when I first saw it, I didn't like it. I was like, okay, what, you know? I still don't like the Explorer dial sort of, you know, with the numerals. If they would have kept it stick or batons, yeah, I'm
Yep.
down with that. But, you know, the more I looked at it, and plus, you know, when you look at what Rolex did with that movement, you know, it's like, wow, that watch is pretty spectacular. But I would take, if it was up to me, man, I would
Yeah.
definitely go with that ice blue freaking
Amen, bro.
platinum. Yeah.
You hit it. They don't get near enough coverage credit for the movement, which is spectacular. Granted, Zenith and Grand Seiko have been achieving those sorts of things for decades now.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with the 6 and 9 not belonging there. I think
Right.
that it's unfortunate the icy blue is platinum,
Yeah.
because if that icy blue was stick marker and no date, no cyclops,
Yeah.
that's symmetry. I don't have any issues with the honeycomb dial. I think it's pretty enough.
Yeah.
The It's surprising they went back to their roots with the oyster quartz, but okay,
Yeah.
that's fine too.
You
But
can also, if you want to step to a different direction on that, you know, for those of you who really like this aesthetic and everything like that, and I know people were trying to compare it to the Tissot PRX, it's like you're not even close in the same.
it doesn't make any sense.
But you can get the Tudor Royal, and
Yeah, the Royal.
that's another very similar aesthetic, and I had one, but it's like, yeah, I mean, I think the more you look at it, you know, it's kind of one of those ones where you look at it and you go, yeah, you know, actually I do like it. My AD sent me a text message the other day. He goes, is there anything you want Rolex wise? Because
Yeah.
they're cool like that. I can pretty much get whatever. And
Right on.
I haven't responded to him yet, actually. I forgot,
Okay.
but this wouldn't be one. I don't think so. But
No,
I don't
it's-
know.
Yeah, I think they're gonna iterate on the dials in the
Yeah.
coming years, God willing. I would say that you probably can't tell because it's hard. In addition, look, this free StreamYard is going today no matter what, but I'm only at 720p. If you were able to see better, you would see I changed the name of the watch in the middle. I call it the waitlist dweller,
Yeah, there you go.
which is unfortunate because one way for them to champion this watch and literally eat AP's lunch or anyone else's lunch in the integrated bracelet market, integrated
Yeah.
watch bracelet market, is if they made these as common as possible. It's positioned financially above Datejust, below date, so it's kind of
Yeah.
a different price band. But if you made it so that anyone could get one, because everyone's a land dweller, we all dwell in the land, we're not all in the sea or the air or the sky dweller.
Right.
That would have been so baller and so contrarian to.
Yeah.
But I thought of going into my AD and saying, you know what? I understand the land dwellers highly allocated the best customers. If it helps me, I will totally buy a Daytona to get on the list for the land dweller. Look, I'll take the hit. I'll buy your stupid chronograph if you just put me down for the one I really want.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm friends enough with my AD. I'm probably going to crack that joke just to see what he says, but it's kind of funny. So, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I would have to get the platinum one. The silver dial with the white hands, it wouldn't work for me because I have enough. I mean, I got the Daytona Panda
Okay.
last July, and I can't.
Is it
read
hard
it
to
at
read?
all.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was gonna ask if it was hard to read.
Very hard to read, man.
And
it
I
was,
like
it was it's a bummer, you know.
It is. I mean, I like the blue dial one. It's white gold, so it's not my
Yeah.
cuppa. But if I'm able to get an allocation on a black dial Daytona, that would be, because I've got the modern Explorer, which is my 36.
Yeah.
I've got my GMT. This is the Sprite was me because of the colorway chiefly, and I like left-hand drive. So I don't have a Rolex chronograph, and I'm more or less a chronograph guy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my next piece. But staying in the Rolex vein, and to give them some major props, major shout out for me, I think this thing is beautiful. A lot of people don't like that tiger iron dial.
No,
What did you think of it?
no, I didn't like it at all.
Not you? Okay.
No, you know what? I would have to, I have to be fair though. I can
Yeah.
look at something and I can look at something as far as a picture, a rendering, or whatever else and go, that's cool or it's not cool. But there's been watches that I've seen that I didn't like. And then once I saw them in person,
Hmm.
I was like, oh my God,
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
You
the
gotta.
Zenith GFJ, man. When I actually saw that online, I thought it was beautiful. Yeah. But when I actually held it and put it on my wrist,
Hmm.
oh my God, man. It was like the most beautiful thing. So I'd have to be fair and say, let me look at it, but I didn't really like it that much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's fair. You do have to get it on wrist, on hand, in order to really appreciate it.
Right.
I want to say thank you so much for coming along on the ride, brother. It was amazing to get to know you a little better
Thanks,
and to
man.
share some watch talk. What I like to do at the end of all of my interviews is I like to give the mic metaphorically to the guest so they can share their final thoughts before we wrap it up. I think looking at the comments, apologies anyone watching, sorry I couldn't put your comments up, but have no fear, I will remedy. StreamYard's going to get an earful from D in a moment. But I want to give the mic back to you, sir. You can, if you got something you want to plug, anything you want to talk about, the time is yours, brother. And I'm just, please know how grateful I am for you giving me some of your time.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate it. I enjoyed doing this today. I'm glad you reached out to me and asked me to do it. I mean, it's been a pleasure, man. So, as far as it goes, man, if some of you don't know what my channel is, it's just Talking Timepieces with Tony on YouTube. Also, same on Instagram. Talk about watches, and it's no BS. Have a Q&A every Friday. I'm pretty straight to the point and open and whatever, and it's just fun, and it's good. That's about it, man. That's all I gotta say.
Awesome. His channel is linked in the description below. Check him out. Give him a follow on the Instagram. And if you did come along on the ride, or if you're watching this in the future, thank you for coming along on this ride in this wonderful, beautiful hobby of ours. Hope that you're doing well and that you're blessed. We will catch you in the next one. Peace. All right, brother.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming along, my man.
Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It was great talking to you.
Cool.
All right, so now I'm